Book club is early. In your face, TJ. Book club, new comic book day. We're talking about crossover issue 2. And nothing like a good deuce with my buddy YWell Comics. How you doing?
Yeah. It's so rare that we do a deuce together.
Usually we're talking about a steaming pile.
Yeah.
But not necessarily in issue 2. We are joined by the Kamikaze. The Kamikaze.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Jeff?
I'm doing good. Even better than I'm doing it with you guys. Wow, that sounded bad.
You had a big new comic book day, man.
Oh, I had a huge new comic book day. Yes, it's crazy. I picked up a couple issues of crossover.
I know my LCS had very few.
Oh wow, you went all in.
They felt like that issue 2 was going to be a low print run book by comparison to issue 1. So they ordered a lot less.
My shop had a ton.
My shop, that's what he said. But they sold out like that, and he was like, I tried to order a lot because I knew people were going to want it, and he said it was like 100 something. I think he told me it was over 100,000 print run on it. Maybe I'm mistaken. That could have been something else I talked about a lot. But I think he's doing very well.
So yeah, rare issue number 2. We did issue number 1, obviously when that came out, and I was a little bit on the fence. Alec, I know was a lot more into it. I want to say you had it as an 8 out of 10. I think I was at a 7.5.
I don't remember what I had for dinner. Never mind what I gave it something a review of a whole month ago.
But here's my thing with this. Like I think you have to, when you're rating, it's a first issue of a brand new story. It's not like Wolverine issue number 1 of a new series, because we know Wolverine. This is an issue number 1 of a totally new story. So you have to start those out, and issue number 1's can be a big deal. You have to be able to keep the reader entertained with enough, but still you're trying to explain the beginning of this whole new thing. So I think for an issue 1, I think it was really solid.
So yeah, so you felt obviously interested enough to even go after issue 2, right?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, that's what he said.
I mean, Alec, you were pretty set on I'm definitely getting issue 2 when you.
I mean, it hooked me enough to know where it was going, that I wanted to give it at least a couple more issues to say because. They did set up some stuff about this world in the first issue, but I think we talked about this a lot in our last review of this, is that we weren't sure exactly where it was going. And that's what kind of interested me, whereas it could go so many different ways, and it seems like it's going in a direction that I didn't even really consider.
They're lighting fire.
I guess is why Donnie Cates is a professional writer and I'm not.
I mean, in issue 2 just takes what you're for me, issue 2 took me from what I was thinking it could be and opened up this whole new idea. It was like issue 2 was like a whole new revelation from what we already knew, is what I felt like. You learned a lot of stuff in it. So.
Absolutely. Well, let's say hello to some people hanging in the chat here, joining us. I know I kicked us off a little bit early, but we are going to rock and roll because we were ready to go. Travis M., thank you for coming by, even though you said you don't mind spoilers, but you haven't read it yet. Much appreciated. Bake is in here. Thanks for coming by. We got Comic Man Andy. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah.
And that, 5 minutes. I think is it. That might be it for right now. That's all I got. Did I miss him? I think I got everybody. TJ is like, wait, I got another 10 minutes. I was going to go refill my drink. Nope. He can't say that I'm never early now because it's happened. So yeah, let's go around the room. What would you rate this new issue then, Alec?
Like an 8.25.
Throw in the 2 bits there.
Yeah, throw in the 2 bits.
And Jeffrey, what would you score this 1 out of 10?
I was going to say 8.5. So
Yeah, and I think I'm right there with you guys. I would say mid eights is about where I would go for this one. I liked it a lot more personally than issue 1. I just felt like I got a better sense of kind of the world, and I liked the drama that they set up more in this issue.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, it was a very enjoyable read. That's what the first and foremost is, that, you know, a book can be interesting or well done or something, but it can also be boring. And this, you know, was like, I was flipping the pages. I never wanted to put it down. And there have been plenty of books we've done on the show that I want to put down and would have if we weren't going to review them in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Please make it stop. Make it stop. Hey, Ryan, thanks for coming by, man. Yeah, so, I mean, I would say I had concerns about issue 1 that I still kind of have. And my main concern is I feel like what I want out of this comic is something that I don't necessarily feel like it can deliver for me, which is I really want the Marvel DC Image universes to all blend together for a little fun. And I don't think they can fully deliver on that. So that's a little bit of what irks me about it. But
well, clearly they can hint at it, right?
Yes.
Because they did in this issue. And
the previous one, we saw the logo, right? The Superman logo.
Right. In this one, you see Batman, you see Spawn, you see Wonder Woman, you see a bunch of characters.
They mentioned Hulk and somebody else. I forgot who it was.
So in that regard, like, they can create a world where it all exists. You just can't see giant battles with the detail of all these characters necessarily. But you can maybe get some silhouettes or fighting, or, you know, mention of the fact that, you know, the Juggernaut just came ripping through this town, or, you know, whatever the case may be.
I mean, like, I'll show this picture.
Sorry, let me blow you up here, man.
Like, that is that not? I mean,
that's definitely Batman and Wonder Woman. I mean,
that's at least Batman. I feel like.
I think like Captain Cold is somewhere. Quicksilver, you can see his arms, and Spawn definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this it's hard on camera, but does that not look like the hand of Ben Grimm?
Yeah,
you know, like,
totally.
Absolutely. And yeah, Travis, I heard the same thing. I know that Donnie has been doing his usual hype man stuff for his books. He definitely promotes a ton.
Yeah, right here. Sorry, it's jumping, but this is the bubble. They mentioned Dracula and the Hulk. So
what is it? You want to read it? Go ahead and read it.
I didn't know it was jumping too far, but it just goes, and we're all supposed to just go about our lives pretending that Dracula and the Hulk and Archie and, like, I don't know, Scooby-Doo aren't just, like, right there.
Yeah. So they're certainly creating the reality of this world.
Right.
And they're not shying away from that. You just can't necessarily draw all these characters because they're copyrighted, but because they're in collective consciousness, I guess you can mention them.
Right, exactly. Hello, Superior, as well as Rod and Bearded. Thank you guys for coming around. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little. I felt like this issue moved a little bit better. Yeah, what was that one, Jeffrey? Sorry.
I mean, I'm assuming that's probably like Voltron or something, right?
It does look
like a Gundam.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So
to me, at least.
Let's talk about this particular issue then. The first issue ended with the destruction of the comic book shop by a zealot. And the little girl from the comic book world, the pixelated girl, I almost don't know. Like, I feel like that's what I want to call her.
The Liechtenstein girl.
There you go. The pop art girl, right? And she is found by our lead character, and she has her own. The owner of the shop takes the girl to hide her, and our character deals with the firebombing. Then this issue picks up. Sort of following the shop owner and the girl deciding what to do next. And in the background, we get the chaos of what's kind of going on, the backstory of what's going on around this world. Obviously, the gut punch that Andy was talking about at the beginning is when Donnie Cates' wife, apparently, that totally looks like her to me.
Yeah.
I was almost wondering if that was him in the background, too.
Yeah, it looks like Donnie on the right.
Is basically giving us a news report that several comic book artists, including Brian K. Vaughan in particular, have died recently or gone missing. And then we deal with the owner of the shop basically being the person who doesn't trust the little girl. And then we jump to the police station and we see that the young guy who firebombed this place is he's a wealthy, rich kid whose dad's a bit of a zealot, and he is taken before this secret agent who lays out like the entire universe of crossover.
Well, I mean, before that, though, there is a point where Ellie, that's the chick who worked at the comic book shop, she is talking to the comic book shop owner, and he finds out that she was actually living at the comic book shop because she had no place to live.
Right.
Which, I mean, it kind of plays a little bit of a backstory later when they're talking and things like that. But
and Ed D is in here. Hey
what up, Ed D?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, so I want to bring up my first point of contention with this issue.
Sure.
Well, I have two things to say about the early on. First thing is that Donny Cates does something that I have also done in my own writing, and I'm not trying to compare myself to Donny Cates because he's clearly much better than I am, but I think it's a clever tactic because the story is jumping all over the place at the beginning, and the narrator makes reference to that.
Yes.
So I think that it's always, to me, clearly, because I did it myself in a story I wrote.
Like he's in reference to this. He even says, "Sorry to bring that up. You don't really even need to know about that."
Right. So,
but you're talking about self-referential narration,
right? This like totally omniscient narrator who is aware of the full story and also aware of the fact that maybe they aren't telling it the best they could, but that gives the narrator a personality instead of just narration that's dragging you along.
Right.
Because without that.
How you doing, Sean? Will? I don't know which one or both.
Without that little comment, then it becomes very much like it. It's like he knows. Donny Cates clearly knows that he's jumping all over the place, but he's like, I need to have this in to flow, make the story flow the way I want it to. So I'm just going to put this little nugget of self-criticism almost in.
And the thing that reminds me of is like he does this thing. It's like we're watching a story that he knows basically because you see this is right after the building burns down.
How much spit does she have in her mouth?
Spits there and it's like fuck you, sorry. And then after this, it goes right after these two fall in love. These two have never met. This is the first time they've ever met right here. Yeah. And I feel like they're kind of giving us a little bit of a spoiler, which I'm not sure that I really enjoy.
They referenced that in the first issue, though.
Yeah, no, they did. You're right. And that's what I'm talking about because they reference it again in here to the boy. And he's like, I don't even know who that person is. And they keep bringing it up. It's like, why do they have to? And maybe there's a reason they have to throw that in there. But I'd rather just see it happen without knowing that it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely like a tease, a bit of a setup kind of a thing.
It's like
that's what I feel. Either
they're on a stick.
Like, right, either they're not going to get married and fall in love, or she's going to get killed in his arms, or, is there something that's going to happen? But I just kind of wish that maybe that I didn't have to know about that, and it just happened. It's not that big of a deal, but for me, that was the one thing I was going to mention that was my critique about it.
Which sounds similar to what Alec is saying as far as a narrator who is ahead of the reader in many ways.
Yeah,
right. And the only reason I think that maybe he decided to do that is so that you kind of get on the side of both of them instead of seeing as one as the bad guy. Like if you know that they're going to fall in love at the end or at some point in the story, that you're kind of rooting for both of them, even though he is, basically the bad guy in the first issue.
Well, that does make sense. I guess I see
it definitely humanizes a guy that you're going to hate right off the bat.
But I see your point of like, it would have been much more impactful in certain other ways that if, like you think these two people are kind of coming at this from different directions and they come together and they fall in love, then it's like, oh, wow. So
to me, it's just, oh, wow, that's a cool little thing I didn't see coming, which I kind of like that twist and turn of stories. But I mean, I'm not like, oh man, mad about it or not going to read another. Yeah. It's okay. It's fine that it's there. If I was going to critique it in any way, I kind of wish.
Rod is sharing all of our stuff. Thanks, Rod. Yeah, I mean, I was more bothered by the fact that it seemed like a cliche. So for me, like, it didn't bother me that they were giving away what this was going to happen, or that the
these two characters from different side of the tracks falling in love.
For me, it was like, oh yeah, we have to have a love story. You know that if we've got a man and a woman in a story, they're going to fall in love.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, why can't it just be a story of them trying to? Why does the love story have to be so significant, so early, or even necessary? Like, so for me, it just felt like a little unnecessary, but I didn't care. Like, I think Jeffrey, it didn't detract anything.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Rogue One. If anyone has not seen that, pause for a second. That's one of the reasons I liked Rogue One so much and was so scared for a moment in that movie where I thought they were going to turn the friendship into a romance thing. I was like, this doesn't need it. Don't do it. And then they didn't. Yeah. And it was like, oh, great. Yeah. Because this movie did not need a romance.
Yeah, it didn't need to add it didn't add anything to the story to have that element. Right. So they can be friends and then still care that the other one might live or die.
And the way this turns into a romance might be very interesting and, might be very fulfilling. So we'll see.
New guy says they're leading us to believe the Superman character is also working with the bad kid by giving us the bullet that we see. And yeah, we'll get to the bullet here in a second. Disarming us to help us out behind both main characters. Yeah.
So back to my point of contention. I know we got a little sidetracked, which is my fault. My first point of contention is that the first issue seemed like they were really going to be on this track of kind of a criticism of religious extremism.
Right.
And how that affects the world, and how, I thought it was going to be a book about, these two kind of forces of like the comic book people who are trying to defend these aliens or whatever, and these religious extremists. And not only did that not really come into play at all in this book, but they totally downplayed it when the cops are talking to the kid and they're like, oh, he's not even ordained, like he's not even really a priest. He's just like a cult leader. I'm not trying to say that like it should have been this great criticism of organized religion, but I thought that was going to be a more interesting dynamic of talking about, the good aspects of religion versus the problematic aspects of religion, and what makes people go to these extremes or whatever. But if it's just like a crazy cult person, I mean, that's a different sort of argument, but I just felt like they kind of threw away everything they kind of set up for me in the first issue.
Yeah, and I think we touched and mentioned a little bit of that because obviously that's part of what Comics Code Authority stuff from the early age of comics that I think speaks to some of us big fans who like the freedom of expression that the artist can have, and feel that sometimes extreme fundamental religion has shuttered some of that. And so it was an interesting look at that, but then I agree they do step away from it in this one.
Just thought it was a strange choice.
Yeah. So that's your first gripe. What's the second?
Well,
gripe?
you continue recapping the issue. I'll get to it.
So yeah, the young guy, the fire bomber, he is being interrogated by, or actually more like interviewed by, this mysterious government agent who talks about there being this elaborate prison that Jeffrey was holding pictures up of earlier. Yeah. And this prison seems to have these devices that depower the supers that come out of this realm and house them so that the government can keep track of all the heroes and villains that come out of this world, which is where we see Batman, Wonder Woman, and all these characters.
Which I also found very funny that they have all these prisoners still in their superhero outfits.
Or that they all can be depowered by the same device.
Yeah. You couldn't give Spawn like some prison uniform.
Hey, no good here. He just finished the issue. There you go.
Well, and this is also the part where we learn about the fact that, because in the first issue they make it seem like these superheroes came down, they put up a dome, and they just started
trapped.
They just started attacking and trashing us.
Yeah.
Just going rogue, like went crazy, seeing red, decided to come down and attack us. And this is when we learn that they've got their own government section that's for this, where they're trapped. They've got all these people, locked up, and that the force field actually wasn't like an all-containing force field at first. And I mean, it feels, from what I get from this talk right here, it feels like we, being whatever, that they are being trapped. The force field was actually put up to trap the superheroes, and we're actually have them locked away, because in the next page or two, we find out that we're testing on them. We're trying to take their powers. We're trying to put their powers in human beings and things like this. So what officially we get as being advertised almost as a superhero war against us just to come down and attack us is actually turned into maybe they're actually at war with us because we are holding them captive and testing on them and trying to drain them. We're sacrificing them to learn about them and things like this.
It's the big info dump where this guy basically gives us a ton of information about what's going on. A load of issues. He says it was a spontaneous homage in his opinion.
I haven't read that issue, so I don't know.
Look, Southern Comic Geek, good to see you here. We're shaming Jeffrey into growing a beard. That's how it works.
Man, I've been growing this beard for over a month now, and I don't even think you can call it a beard.
We're so proud.
I just shaved this morning.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't be surprised.
Ryan says he feels like Kate has gave us everything we expected in the first issue and of King in Black and crossover, and now it is out of the way. He can do something unexpected. That's generally kind of his way. We get all this detail about what the government is doing, and it leads to the big ask where the government agent is basically asking this kid who firebombed the comic book store to take possession of a briefcase with a gun and a special glowing green bullet.
Should have been named Agent Graves, just saying.
I had such vibes. And with the task of potentially using it if necessary on a quest that is written out on a piece of paper from an unknown character who goes by 3 dots, the ellipsis, right? The person doesn't sign their name to the letter. They just write the 3 dots at the end. And this is supposed to be a character connected to the comic book universe that's in the bubble who can see the future and has given this to our character for a specific purpose. And it says he needs to find Ellie, which is the girl that Jeffrey mentioned who was living in the comic book shop. So he's going to who spit on his face.
So, jumping back real quick, Ellie lost her parents when the thing went around. And that's when she she lost everything. She had no place to live. She had no place to go. And that was when she started living at the comic book shop. So I just have a feeling that the fact that she lost her parents in this bubble is eventually going to play a factor, I think, somewhere, and she's going to find them in the future. And we also learn at this point, it's coming up next. I'm jumping ahead too.
That's fine. I mean, we're just going to go through. I was just going through the basics, and then we can break down the things we liked or didn't like.
I was going to say, coming up next is when we learn a little bit more about the little girl, Ava. Right. And she's the one who talks about how we have the concentration camps who have all the mutants being held captive, and that's where her parents were, and she got separated from her parents at the concentration camp. And that was when, because there's a guy who sneaks him out of the concentration camp, but he can only sneak out a few at a time. And by the time that her and her parents were trying to get snuck out, they got separated. And that's how all this happened. And
then, the comic shop owner doesn't trust her. He's worried that, we don't know what her powers are, what she can do, if she even has powers, what it's going to be like.
He called her an atom bomb.
Yeah.
Like, you read the comics before. You see what these people can do. You never know.
and then she blasts or does something with her eyes to kill a rat, and that's kind of how it all ends, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That disappointed me.
I'm assuming just some like Cyclops beams of light is what I'm picturing. Hey, you know that's okay because not everybody is into the same things.
Yeah, despite me giving it a fairly high grade, I didn't think it was amazing either. I just thought it was very entertaining. Like this is not God Country. This is not this is not going to be his legacy book.
But God Country might be in here.
That's true.
Eventually. I agree. Like, and I still stand by Donny Cates. I always know he writes in these the way that he writes, and like you said, this book is probably not. We're not probably going to look back in 10 years and be like, oh my gosh, first appearance of any character or something like that. You know what I mean? But as a read, it's good. It's a solid read. I enjoy reading it, and if you haven't read it and you're looking for something, I think it's worth at least checking out. You might not like it, and if you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah, the reason why I enjoyed it is because so many books that come out lately are just not good. And
I agree.
It's just it was just just a good time. And like it kept me flipping the page and wanting to keep reading. And like I know that's a really low bar, but that's kind of where I am with comics right now, where some they're just like there's a lot of trash.
Okay. Let's look at this. Okay, you have crossover, you've got Venom, you've got King in Black, and you got Thor. That's 4 series going right now. Am I missing any others?
He's got another Image book that's advertised in the back of this coming out.
So let's say he's writing 5 series right now, and to have 5 like decent, like good readable series would be one thing. But if you have 5, even 4 really good ones and one that's just okay, like I mean, that's a lot of hard work.
That's an amazing batting average.
If Donny Cates is here right now, I would just say, I appreciate your hard work. Your writing is very enjoyable, and I enjoy.
All right, John, bring him on.
Okay, yeah, he's backstage. Let me.
Yeah.
Low like issues is saying, like I know he likes Donny Cates, and he's surprised that he didn't enjoy this series. And some series are going to do that. It's just how it is. You can't always enjoy everything.
Travis says they can go anywhere with this book. Introducing Savage Dragons, Invincible Spawn, God Country. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Alec, did you pick up Terry Moore's Everett?
I haven't gotten it because I keep toying with the idea of ordering the hardcover, but I just haven't done it yet. I should just pull the trigger.
But for me, I liked this issue significantly more. I think I'm with Ryan on this one. I thought the first issue was kind of okay. It seemed to have some flaws to me. This one fleshed out the world a little better for me. I liked the character dynamics a little more in this one. And I love the I'm just going to call the character the Ellipsis. The character whose name is right here on the cover, if you didn't notice, the 3 dots.
Oh, is that what you keep saying? I was trying to figure out. I was like, they never use the word ellipsis in this book.
It's an element of punctuation, the 3 dots.
And there's like 3 dots trailing off a sentence.
Yeah, it just implies that like there's more to come, right?
You got to remember you're talking to me.
It's like a comma or a period.
Got you.
3 periods in a row is called an ellipsis.
Nice. Okay, you learn something every day.
Hey,
that's what we're here for.
But I don't know. Now, here's an interesting question. Do any of you have a theory as to which character that might represent? Or is it a new character that Donnie is making for this?
What are you talking about?
I get the feeling that this character, the 3 dots, the one who wrote the letter that is encouraging the man to take the gun and the bullet and go look for Ellie, is a character that we know, like somebody who can see.
I assumed
or something.
I assumed it was someone like Professor X, or because he talks about how he can know what's happening, he sees what's happening and stuff. But
I wonder if there's going to be like a futuristic twist where this chick Ellie and this dude that she ends up falling in love with, or somehow is like this chick's parents, or something. You know what I'm saying? And that, I don't know. I feel like there could be something like that because the chick's parents they disappear, but if the parents are 10 years in the future, she might not realize it was the same people or something, or maybe she does know that's why she went there and she's trying, like these are her parents of the past and she's trying, I don't know, some weird twist. It's just a thought that I had. I'm not speculating.
No, I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I thought of like characters like the Spectre or characters like Doctor Strange or some of these god-like characters.
What if it's Marty McFly?
Hey, give me a DeLorean anytime. Some people are hey, there's some interesting ideas. Probably a new character, but could be a pre-established character maybe. Somebody said one of the missing comic book writers. That could be interesting. That maybe the comic book writers know what's going to happen because that's what they do for a living. That's why they went missing.
Fear did.
Don't think it's going to be a DC Marvel character. It's pretty obvious that they won't be allowed to use them. Maybe unless he got strict permission for one.
Well, that's why I thought maybe someone like Professor X because it's innocuous enough. It just can be a bald guy, and they just call him by the three dots. Call him ellipses the whole time. It's going to be Turok.
Yeah, that's a fair one. Was the expectation high for crossover? I think it was. I think
it's really hyped up.
I'm not saying it's going to be a Marvel or DC character. I don't have any idea it's going to be, but I'm just saying, like, if you're Donny Cates and you walk up to Marvel and like, hey, I need one of your characters for 2 issues or something. Let me borrow this guy. I think they might let him do it. I don't know.
I mean, it would be cool if he could, and I think that was one of the things that irked me overall was knowing that like he probably couldn't. Like Issues is saying the infringement issues kind of took something away from my enjoyment because the whole time I'm thinking, he's just going to be hamstrung this whole story. It's going to be a little half done. But I'm curious about it. So
yeah, I don't know how any of that. I know there's a lot of legal stuff that goes into that, but I think Donny Cates has proved that he's probably okay with taking the character and being respectful.
Yeah, the Issues point that he just said, this was the pick of the week on Key Collector because it was going to include a lot of Marvel and DC characters, which I guess it did technically, but wait till Image buys DC out from AT&T, and then this is Batman's first appearance in Image Comics, and it's going to be $1,000 book.
Wait, didn't they do like Batman and Spawn or something?
They did, yeah.
I that's crazy. And, like I said, as a guy who doesn't follow a lot of the hype train, like reading what Issues just says, I can see maybe that's why it was built up so much. I don't know.
Nothing can live up to the Amalgam Universe.
No, nothing. So then I'm curious, are you guys going to get the next issue?
It's on my pull list.
This is the miniseries, right?
Yeah.
I think he's saying 6 issues, and he's claiming issues 3 and 6 are going to be insane.
I didn't hear that yet, but I'm all over it trying to get. I was talking to my comic book shop the other day because I ordered my books ahead of time, and when I ordered issue 3, they had not announced the McFarlane Spawn cover yet. So I was trying to get him to give me an issue that today. So I don't know. I think there might be some. I think people are going to be all over this. Just
yeah, I don't know if he does that. Don't you can look on Google though and see if you can find anything about it. I'm just joking. Bearded Comic Bro has a whole series of videos on his channel. Yeah.
Oh, the Amalgam Universe. Yes.
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of them.
So yeah, the ending.
The ending. Yeah. Well. So you're going to get the next issue. You're going to get. So I'm probably going to get it too. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about the gripes that are.
Let me tell you real quick about picking up the next issue. Part of it, I think, is because I still believe that Donny Cates hasn't dropped the best of what's yet to come in this series. He's an issue 3 and issue 4 kind of guy. He builds up a little bit. If it's going to hit issue 3,
especially if it's only 6 issues, we're a third of the way in. Might as well.
Yeah, that's where I think that you're going to start getting your best part of the series. Which, I could be completely dead wrong, and then maybe I'll send Donny Cates a bag of cow turds. But I think that's a joke. I would never do that. But
you'd light it on fire and put it on his front doorstep.
Joking. But yeah, I think it's well worth the cover price buy for it if that's all you're into it for. A good read, decent read.
I mean, Issues just said I heard it's going to be an ongoing. It definitely has like the feel of it could be an ongoing. Like there's enough meat on the bone that he could just keep writing it, I'm sure. But yeah, the end with the little girl is just like kind of. It's just I've seen that before. That's what it felt like. Like it's either Baby Yoda or she's a sleeper cell.
Ooh,
sorry. Spoilers from Mandalorian. Grogu.
I'm sorry, you're cool. I don't watch it.
Yeah, John hates that show.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it a whole lot. Yeah, I don't have a spoilers GIF to keep us from having spoilers. I should load something for whenever we do.
Yeah, since you got the fancy StreamYard. By the way, not during this show, because any super chats that come in for this show go to charity, which John can now accept. But
I can accept
for other shows, super chat him so you can afford this fancy StreamYard that we're using.
That's right.
Because then I can play these things. That looks so much like you. It's hilarious. I swear, if you just put on those glasses, it's like you just need the right aviators, and then you're gonna be set. Oh, hilarious! John loves to talk Star Wars. Yeah. Hey, Star Wars is guaranteed to get your channel thumbs down. You talk about Star Wars, you're gonna guarantee some thumbs down.
This is the ending right here, and the only thing that I want to say about this is, that's very cliche and kind of typical. But before that, I feel like we kind of get a little bit of a plot reveal, which makes up for the ending being a little lackluster if they're just shooting the rat, because that's when they decide that they're going to storm the dome and they're going to go attack over there. But I mean, to leave it off with a little girl destroying the rat, that wasn't anything impressive.
Wait, Issue says he heard this is going to be an ongoing?
Yeah, that's right. I just talked about that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
where were you when I talked about that?
I was probably trying to click on something.
He usually knows what he's talking about.
But
I haven't heard. I don't even know how many it was.
No, TJ, he doesn't.
Stop.
Drop.
Ooh, that was a nice timed sound effect there. No, I do not. So I hope it's a mini. God, if this is an ongoing, I'm going to be very disappointed, I think.
Yeah, I would not continue reading this if it was an ongoing.
Yeah.
Like, I want this to have a concise, wrapped up little package ending. I don't know why I did this.
Because you're thinking about a little package.
A package, yeah.
Yeah. I've been on our other show too much.
Oh, wow. Travis says he tweeted his ongoing series.
All right. Well, for those reasons, I'm out.
That's a throwback to a joke from another show, because Alec and I have been on StreamYard for a long freaking time today. Oh my gosh! So let's get to the ending. Like, what's irking you about this ending?
I just like it. It was interesting enough that there is a comic book character made real who escaped a concentration camp, and they're trying to reunite her with her parents. That she doesn't need powers. Unless Donnie is like thinking that they're going to run into other powered characters, so they need something that it wouldn't be believable if they didn't have someone as powerful as the superpowered characters. I don't know.
Like that little girl or whatever, the baby in The Boys, where he's like just blasting people with the baby. So you're just going to take this little girl around and blast rats with it.
So like, but even if that's the case, I feel like it would be more interesting if they had to figure out how to best these superheroes without the ability to fight at their level, and while trying to travel with this young girl who's scared because she's in a world she doesn't understand.
But somebody knows that this is what's going to happen. So, like, somebody is the character, the ellipsicist guy, right? He knows what's going to happen. So obviously they need this character. I would think, or he would make a reason for it not to happen. I feel like.
So here's a question about fate and the strings of time. If this character can see the future and can see reality, why does he need to write a letter to tell this guy what to do? Wouldn't he already be doing it?
Or have prevented whatever got him caught and captured in the first place, right? Unless this is exactly the only way he knows, the only way the kid will believe what happened is right. I don't know. But yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Maybe it's the sort of thing where he sees a million monkeys writing on a million typewriters and knows that this is the only way the outcome that he wants is going to be achievable is if he sends him the letter saying you have to do this. Right. And once he does that, that puts the wheels in motion. I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't had that thought until you just brought it up. It's a good thought, but that would be, yeah. Right? Dude.
One of the best movies of all time.
I feel like the second you get into that level of time travel, the whole thing is just, that's the frustration of time travel, right?
Well, we don't know if it's time travel. They say he's having visions, and everything that he's visioned or whatever so far has come to fruition. So whatever that leads to believe. I was trying to rack my brain on what superheroes have futuristic vision powers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I used to do a yearly podcast about Groundhog Day.
I think I watched that movie like once month,
a year,
every day straight.
What's that?
Once a year, you would just watch the movie and talk about it?
Yeah, me and my buddy would talk about it and then release the show on Groundhog Day.
How many episodes did you do?
Just 2.
Just enough that you could watch it on repeat and just keep repeating.
Yeah. We realized we said the original thought was that we were going to try to record the exact same show every year. But realized that was a fool's errand, so.
I want to find this podcast now.
I don't think it's currently available in the iTunes store.
Well, crap.
Sorry.
Yet again, something great I get excited about that from Alec that I can't actually go and enjoy.
Yeah, nothing I make is ever realized.
Yeah. Hey, glitter and duct tape is here.
Time travel, no any good time travel movies, John?
I'll have to think about it.
Back to the Future, and that's it.
Yes.
I think there might be a couple more I'm not thinking of.
Nah.
Okay, well then I guess that's it for this show. Unless there's some other hot take that we're missing here.
Juggernaut's a good series. Kieran Gillen is writing that Warhammer 40,000. Marnius Calgar, I've enjoyed that. If you're looking for any couple
Kieran
things to pick up.
Pretty consistent guy, so
it is that when I'm reading that series, the Warhammer one, I totally have feelings of die kind of when I'm just by the way that he writes, not like the way the story lays out or anything, but it's really good. Batman Detective Comics, the last few issues,
I got
solid, man.
I'm still waiting to get. That's the only book I couldn't pick up yesterday. So
I got an extra copy if you can't find one. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. They're everywhere.
They just haven't gotten their DC shipment yet. I'm sure that'll come in.
I've got a hot take. Don't spend $10,000 on a Marvel previews.
God, man.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
No,
spend your money.
The people, yeah.
This is the book.
The people spending that much money, they're never going to see that money again in their life.
Oh, it's stupid. Stupid money. Beep, beep.
Yeah. Do your research, people.
And even if they do, God bless them, that is not money that I want to take from somebody if I could resell that for more.
Yeah, I mean, I sold my car and I got one, but I thought that was a pretty good.
Yeah. Good trade. Can't take your kids to school, but they're learning from home, so who cares?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it seemed kind of useless at the time. Then I need to go get groceries.
Chips and salsa.
Jeffrey, you got anything coming up? Any shows you're going to be on? I know The Hunt is back on Friday. Are you rolling through there?
I don't think so. Not this Friday. I don't think.
Okay.
I just kind of stop in every once in a while on there when they got something special going
Come
on.
in, pull off your belt, and then roll.
Man, I can't even compete on that show anymore. No, like it got to the point where I couldn't, nor do I want to. Anymore.
I got 3 votes, and I did in all 5 rounds I played. I got a total of 3 votes. I got my ass smoked.
These guys are pulling up books I never even heard of.
Dude,
so
bangers after bangers in that show. It's
I had an idea for a competition show, but I felt like it was probably too close to the hunt. But I'll tell you about it later.
This has been your way tonight. I got a great idea. I'm not going to let anyone know that.
Like the joke, yeah, I'll tell you.
This is the way.
This is
That's the 3rd Star Wars reference tonight. You're welcome.
Oh, Alec has D&D on Sunday with the boys.
The boy,
yeah.
including John.
Prepping a Christmas edition to.
Yeah, I got to write that. But yeah, we're going to do a holiday special where they're all going to be kind of Christmas themed characters, and it's going to be holiday themed, and it's just going to be a one-off, one-shot, either on the 20th or the 27th. We haven't decided yet.
Nice.
And then anything else though that's coming up that you should be letting us know about?
No.
Okay.
This show next week.
Yeah, we don't know what we're reading yet.
Oh, you guys don't know yet?
No, it's kind of a weird week.
It's a weird week because we're getting close to Christmas. I think some of the books are getting a little. There's not a lot of number ones, and so.
There's King in Black, Immortal Hulk.
That's right. I knew you would mention that book. I don't know that I want to read a King in Black tie-in for book club.
That's Immortal Hulk. Come on.
Beard Comic Bro says Alec will tell you about the show ID on the podcast you can't find.
Oh, speaking of, I've read all the King in Black tie-ins so far, and none of them are necessary. But I'm getting them. I'm all in on that. So
I read this issue. This was good.
Yeah, that was this week, right? Yeah,
that was this week.
that was one of.
I still think this was the book of the week. This is a great book. Marauders. I've got my pull list video dropping tomorrow, 6:45 Eastern. My only edited video, but it's been almost 2-3 months now. I've been doing it. Like exercising, you get in shape for it.
Get used to it.
And I don't have a Saturday night show, but I am on Two Boys and Their Pops show channel on Saturday. They've been doing an interview series, and I'm hanging out with them Saturday afternoon. And then D&D. So we had Jeffrey on a couple weeks ago for the X-Men. And we're going to have TJ on in a week. So if you're not following Omni X-Men, that's been a whole lot of fun. So with that guy right there.
There's a pretty cool little mini-series out. I've been reading Usagi Yojimbo, Wanderer's Road. First issue came out last week. I've only read the first issue, obviously. It is a really cool little fun story. If you're looking for something different, jump on IDW, the Usagi Yojimbo, Wanderer's Road. First cover actually was done by Peachman Moko. I think most of them are done by Peachman Moko. Yeah. I think most of them are Stan Sakai, but I think this was like one of the first issues he didn't do.
Yeah, it's her first time doing an Usagi cover for sure.
Well, she did a convention exclusive over the summer.
Of Usagi?
Yeah. Sold out immediately, and it was goes for like hundreds of dollars.
Well, there you go. That's our market these days.
Yeah. That's all I got.
We're on Alec's channel next week for book club, so make sure you're over there for that. And I got these two gentlemen's channels linked down below, so you can subscribe to everybody. Make sure that happens. And if you've got a good idea for a book next week that's not Immortal Hulk, King in Black, because no damn King in Black tie-ins for book club. Come on. Although it could be very funny. And we just have Jeffrey come right back and do it again.
That's right.
Hey, can have you on every week.
And Brian, we're just wrapping up. Brian, thanks for coming, man. Nothing happened in Venom. Yeah, they titled the issue something like 32 seconds, and the whole story takes place in 32 seconds.
No, I believe that. It feels like that's about. It's not even. It's a picture book with Rex Strickland basically narrating every panel with a short blip and blood appear. So I mean, like, it definitely falls short of the typical Venom issue.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, have a great night, and we will see you back here again soon.